Hey everybody! Welcome to. Are we not audible?
No, I'm just doing a voguing dance move.
Oh, you know what?
It's a
The
TikTok
fake out.
dance.
This is the universal sign for we can't. We can't. I think you're muted. I think you're muted. Hey everybody! My name is Mike Mercadal. Welcome to Just Trying to Look Like You on the Zeros on Heroes podcast feed. With me, as always, is
Will Watkins.
William A. Watkins. How are you doing? It's been a little bit of time since we've seen each other. Get out of here. What's up, man? How have you been? What
Yeah.
has your weeks been leading up to today? What has the vibe been? How is your mind? How's your body? How's your community?
It's I'm drawing a blank. I feel like it's been one of those there's a lot of things happening. So it's like when all the Three Stooges tried to get into a doorway at the same time, so they just kind of like blocked it, and then it's oh, we don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, it's like we've given up on trying to hone in on one particular thing. It's just like a wall of sound type of situation going on with life these days.
You know what? One thing I got I've always been kind of hard of hearing. Speaking of hearing, I've always been hard of hearing my right ear, like for my entire life, and I've always been the guy who's been like, speaking of my good ear, and
Hey?
so I was like, I should probably get this checked out or something. So I went to the audiologist, and they did like the sound thing, and they were like, yeah, you're fucked up in this ear, and I was like, oh shit.
Clinical diagnosis.
And then I went to a ENT, and they were like, yeah, you're fucked up in that ear. Let's take an MRI of your head, because there might be a tumor in there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they did that, and then they were like, there's no tumor in your ear. You just have a fucked up ear. But it's something about like the sensory neural something. And they were like, you can have surgery to get like one of those cochlear implants or a bone-in.
Interesting.
Bone-in hearing aid where they drill into your skull and put the hearing aid right there, or they have the hearing aid, or they said I can wear 2 hearing aids at the same time, and this hearing aid will send stuff to this hearing aid, or this hearing aid will send it to this one. And I'm like, I don't know, I've kind of lived 38 years without being all right, and
you're okay. You're used to it.
Yeah, I've just like grown accustomed to it. I just do the whole like, hey, just speaking to this ear thing, I'm fine. But when they did the MRI, one thing I found was interesting is they said there's a part of my skull and how it connects to my ear and all this stuff. They said it's I forgot what they said, it's bigger or smaller than most people's, and they said that means you probably have a really bad struggle with balance. And I was like, yeah, literally my entire life, and I've always been like, man, why do I always like? Anytime I'd walk like on a straight line or whatever, I would always wobble even though I wasn't drunk. And it's like, oh, okay, I just have a fucked up head.
Oh, that's where Johnny Depp got his Jack Sparrow walk. What was from you? He saw you doing one of these things, and he was like, I like it. I'm taking it.
That guy with the abnormal skull. I'm digging this walk.
Now, I have a lot of things that are very related to this world because I have tinnitus. Do you have ringing in your ear, in that ear, or is it just silence?
I don't
or like
have,
lower.
They said it's because of the sensory neural thing with the nerve. I can hear certain frequencies, but I can't hear other frequencies. So it's like the higher pitch of frequency is, I can't hear it as well. And then also when I'm in a crowd, I can't hear a bunch of different voices at the same time.
Interesting.
So I feel like a hacky 80s comic where I'm like, that's why I can't hear my wife says.
That's why I have my wife on this side of me all the time, so I can drown out the noise.
Whatever, I'm at it. All right, just turn like this and I can't hear nothing.
Wow. Okay, so lots of things. So I've gone through a very similar process when my tinnitus got really bad a couple years ago. And I have a hearing aid. Look, it's right over here. I don't wear it when I'm at home because I don't need it at home. I need it when I exist in the world. Because similarly, the hearing aid boosts all of the sound from the outside in the range of my tinnitus. There is no right way to say it. You're wrong every time. If you think it's tinnitus, someone will be like, no, it's tinnitus. If you say tinnitus, they're like, no, it's tinnitus. So I say both at every time now at this point. But I have it, and I've had it forever because I ruptured my eardrum when I was a little kid.
Oh shit.
My brother stuck food in my ear, and I was just trying to dig it out, and like little kid style, popped my eardrum, like because I was like, this feels weird. What's happening? And I've always had some tinnitus, and it's gotten a lot worse in the last year. I had a whole deal where it was like fucking with my head, and I couldn't get the ringing to stop. I had to go. So I was like, this is bad. Let me find out what's going on. And they did. They ordered all the same thing, an MRI. I also discovered that is the exact sensation I imagine I would feel if I was buried alive. Getting an MRI, I had a full claustrophobia moment where I had to pause and basically be like, I've been on the other side of this transaction a million times as a healthcare worker, and I've been in this room many, many times. I know nothing bad will happen to me, so I had to like consciously be like, "You're fine, you're fine, you're fine." Did you, in fact, have any of that in the MRI machine?
Nah, I was very at peace. Like I was like, if it weren't for all the noises, I would have fallen asleep. It was nice. It was like a snuggie for your head.
Did they have to do the thing where they restrained your head?
I think so, yeah. And then they put
a thing,
earbuds in, and then
headphones, like ear muffs.
Yeah, and it's another thing. People who I told I was gonna go get an MRI, they were like, "Oh, you get to choose your music that you listen to, and blah blah blah." They try to keep you calm, and the dudes just like slapped some shit on my head, and then like put me in like no music. And it was just like,
yeah.
I was like, are they playing Skill Rex right now? What is?
Yeah, well, bro, you just did the most boomer shit of mispronouncing. What are they doing? It's Skrillex, but Skillrix is the perfect fuck up. Skillrix is the perfect fuck up of that name.
I was listening to Skillrex, and then I was eating some Chipotle. And
Chipotle. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so that is the thing. What kind of music would you like? I don't know, something that goes along with the banging of metal magnets.
Yeah.
Like
then they had to like inject me with like a colored fluid and stuff like that.
Yeah. So did you think it was like the super soldier serum situation?
I wanted it to be, but I was like, is it at least going to turn my pee orange or something? And they were like, no. I was like, I didn't even get the pride pee.
Oh yeah, happy Pride, everybody! Happy Pride. We are both allies to the cause. It's hard
to ones.
Yeah, we're one of the good ones. It's hard to be. It's also like hard to be super supportive of Pride because of how much you get. Like, because at some point it'd be like, "Oh, are you gay?" And I'm like, "No." And then they're like, "Why do you say it so defensive like that?" I'm like, "No. I mean, like, I don't have to be gay to support." Wait a minute. Why is the conversation turned around onto me? Please focus onto creators and other people who need the support. Hey, Pride. Like I'm making it about myself, but also happy Pride, everybody. Support the LGBT plus community. We being gym people now, being the gym for a long time, has been a source of LGBT acceptance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I go to the gym in Chelsea, so it's like I think I'm the only straight guy there sometimes.
I mean, it's a non-zero percentage possibility of that being the truth. Didn't mean to derail our conversation about your MRI experience and your current hearing woes.
I wasn't listening anyway.
Fair enough. My wife on the right side. Hey. No, but I do think that so just to kind of sum up, like, it is kind of crazy what you can get used to over time, and you don't realize it's wrong until someone points it out.
Yeah.
And I feel like you just went through that with your hearing. You've always kind of known, like, whatever. But like, it's like the first time I got glasses, I was blind in high school, like leading up to high school. And I would always tell my mom, I'm like, hey, I can't, like, or I'd always be like, focus the projector. When it was like an classic, this is old, dating myself, the overhead projector when someone where you could like manually adjust it.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point I thought, oh, maybe I'm the problem, when someone was like, it is focused. Can you not see that? And I'm like, nah, yeah, of course. Of course I can see that. Of course. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just messing around trying to be and it genuinely, I remember I got my eyes checked and they did that big, it's the classic Brian Regan bit of the putting the thing in front of your eyes. Have you ever heard that bit?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
This one or this one?
Yeah. Is it number 1 or number 2? Oh my God. Tell me exactly when point A is in front of point B. Now. It was like that classic bit. And then so they do the little better 1, better 2. And then finally I can see the thing. And then they move the thing away. And I was like, oh no. I've been this blind the whole time. And I have been that blind the whole time. And it was like an odd revelation of what you just kind of deal with. Like when my mom, I would squint to look at the computer because I'm not wearing my contacts or my glasses right now. So I'm like kind of doing it. Like I used to like get my face to it. My mom was like, get your face away from the computer. Why are you so close to the computer? And I'm like, I need to read. Like, are you not putting your face 2 inches from the screen? What's wrong with you? Not me. I'm the normal one,
Yeah, I remember the day I finally got I got the eye test and got it in there. Yeah, you're fucking blind. I was like, all right. And then they put in for the glasses and they're like, all right, it's going to arrive on Thursday or whatever it was. So I got my glasses. And like an hour later, I went to go see, it was opening night for The Dark Knight. And I saw it in IMAX. And it was just like sensory, like,
it's all the colors.
Oh God,
this IMAX is great. That what a movie to watch with your first time with glasses. For that, like, what other movie could have been it? Like if they would have taken you to my one go-to,
some shit.
My one go-to for people to like is always to go see on acid. Is the Wachowski's Speed Racer.
Oh,
do you remember that movie? What a crazy, like I just revisited it not that long ago, and it was like, oh, this would kill you if you were on any kind, like this would either like put you in a transcendent state or literally fry your brain because of how visually insane it was. That's like what I'm imagining you were seeing, like The Dark Knight. You're like, oh, the gray gritty reboot, and you're like, the colors.
This wasn't gritty at all.
Yeah,
it was so vibrant.
Oh, is my life the dark gritty reboot? Oh no. But so you don't have a tumor.
Don't have a tumor.
You have an unusually sized bone in your brain.
Yeah.
In your skull.
It's like tonsillary something or other. I don't know what it's called.
Interesting. Now, and you now know why you'd walk like a drunk.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Nice. You've solved some mysteries, learned some things about yourself. How do you feel? Like, is this one of those things where you could have gone your whole life without knowing, and you would have been fine, or are you happy you found out the information? Because some people don't want to know. Yeah, like if something's wrong with them, they don't want to know.
Like I did want to know because it was like, is this going to get worse, or is it like? But it's like I told him like I can't remember living the life without going, huh? So it's like,
right.
It's not like I don't feel like it's getting worse or anything. They're just like, yeah, your nerves are fucked up. I think it's because I had like a bunch of I was a really sick kid, a lot of ear infections especially, and I think
maybe it's because of the bone in your thing.
No, he said one of the reasons that your nerve can get affected is through viruses. Viruses can affect the nerve. So I had a bunch of infections.
Is there anything they can't do? Oh, viruses. Are they not the universal fucking problem?
But yeah, it does. It is nice to know, especially like for the balance thing, which isn't even the issue I went in for. But it's nice to know that like the balance thing was not some personal failing of mine that I needed to train harder or whatever it is. Like I've always been like, when people are like, "Oh, Bulgarian split squats are so hard," I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I keep falling over," and they're like, "Well, I mean, it's just hard on your muscles," but I'm like, yeah, but the balance
as a straight. It's just a strength thing, Will. Is there balance? What are you talking about? Are you not rock solid doing Bulgarian split squats? There's something wrong with you. That is a. I guess, coming from a medical background, there is that relief of diagnosis that you see. I've watched people get like cry over something that they have been trying to figure out for years. Have you ever like that? Like that? I don't. It's such an interesting experience where someone gets when they finally get told that they have a tumor in their brain after having some problem that they've been dismissing or has been dismissed by a healthcare provider for so
Yeah.
long. You hear stories about that all the time because the American medical system is broken. That like doctors don't give a shit or they don't. I've been trying to figure out whatever, and to a certain extent, like there's certain things that if they can't do anything about it, it feels like hopeless. But they're just like, sorry, man, deuces, you know. And then when someone finally gets the diagnosis of, oh, like, have you ever, speaking of ear things, if you've ever, do you know what an Epley maneuver is or Meniere's disease?
No, what's that?
Okay. It's a thing that happens when you get vertigo is being caused by little crystals in the fluid in your ear, in your inner ear. Like it can't be affected externally. A lot of people say that's where tinnitus comes from, is the damage of the little balance hairs that you have in the cochlea, and that it's like it short circuits the hearing nerve, and you start hearing a tone where your brain thinks it's like, oh, that's what silence sounds like.
Yeah.
And it interprets it as the noises that you hear when you have tinnitus, whatever. In that fluid, there are little crystals that form your balance. That's why when you spin around in a circle for so long, they all get like pushed to one side and you feel like you're off balance. That happens just sitting there because the crystals are like stuck in the wrong place. And I've been in the ER where someone's like, the room is spinning on them, or it's like a boat. Some lady, she referred to it as having vertigo is like being drunk without the fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. So the room's leaning on you, whatever, If the room is either spinning, making you nauseous, like you can't function. And then all of a sudden, one of the ER docs lays them down, does a series of maneuvers over a few minutes where it's like repositioning where to get the crystals kind of back where they're supposed to go. And they're healed, like perfectly back to normal. Your brain can no longer sense the movement, and it thinks it's like, okay, we're back now. Good, we're on solid ground. We're not in an aerial flat spin Top Gun maneuver. We can just be. And the look of relief on people's faces when they are no longer experiencing that sort of is kind of magical. Like it does feel like a very kind of like healing moment for everybody in the room. Like sometimes it feels powerless to be a healthcare provider when you're just like, I've done all I can. And then it sometimes feels powerless to be a patient when you're like, I feel like there's nothing can be done for me. And then to have both people experiencing the resolution of that is like a moment where I healed this person and the person is like, I've been healed. It's super powerful in that moment. It's kind of an interesting thing that most people don't get to see, but it is like the resolution of a medical problem is like incredibly cathartic for people. You know?
Because I think that's what people want is the immediate. Oh, doctors can give you a thing that's going to immediately fix me, and then
the light switch.
Since doctors are scientists, sometimes they're like, I don't know, I can't give you an answer because there's no definitive science on this, so I can't. But also, I feel like if there are any astrology or millennial white witches that are watching this, they're going, oh, so crystals do affect your body, huh?
Yeah, it's literally crystals. Oh, really? Actually, I had to take. Okay, it's so funny you mentioned that. I saw a video about someone who was talking about like making fun of the people who make fun of crystal ladies.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, wait, you're telling me that if I can send an electrical signal through quartz, that it can provide perfect in-time frequency with the universe, and I'm not supposed to think that they can affect me in some way? And I was like, oh no, she's right. Quartz as a crystal is literally what powers the cycle of time, and it creates a uniform measurement of vibration that can be turned into time management. Like that's how we use, like whenever you saw the 80s watch that had quartz, it says quartz on it. It's because a crystal is powering your time. It's a time crystal. I was like, oh, damn it. Shit, now there's some credence to the crystal ladies. Damn.
That's like one of those like glorious logical fallacies where it's like, well, if the crystal is real, then so is fucking amethyst.
Yeah, and that's why selenium is the no.
That's why
just
palladium is going to heal your cancer. All you need is colloidal silver.
Oh my God, the colloidal silver people. Because I am a medical person, I watch medical things online, and I get pumped constantly some new fad of like, here's a poison that won't kill you immediately, so it must be medicinal. Like eating borax or some shit. It's like, stop doing that, please. Please don't do that. Yes, it cleans the floor, but it's not going to clean your insides. Stop, don't do that. It's so stupid. But then again, quartz, baby. I got to give it to the quartz. What am I going to say? She's right about the quartz, so she must be right about all these other things.
Well, if X equals 2, then Y must equal and Z must equal.
Yeah, like, exactly. No. I love a good logical fallacy. I tell them to myself all the time. We've talked about it on previous episodes, cognitive dissonances or whatever they call the cognitive rationalizations that your brain comes up with to enable bad habits and keep you from, achieving your goals or whatever. But I love when they're used to like comedic effect where it's like, obviously these crystals. I don't know. I appreciate. Thank you for sharing your medical journey with us, Will. I appreciate it. I am jealous of you that you did not get to experience claustrophobia in the tube because I did. It is such a weird thing to be like. My body is like, you're dying, and my brain is like, but I'm not. I know I'm not, but your body is like, I'm gonna fill you with adrenaline so that you can fight or flight, and I'm like, please don't do that. Please don't fight or flight me right now. I'm trying to take a scan and I have to be very still. But that's interesting part of the journey. Has it affected you moving forward in any way? Have you taken this medical diagnosis and like, are you going to use it to your advantage? Like some sort of like starting point for something? Or is it just like, oh, that's it. That's why I'm this way.
It's weird because like they were like, all right, your next step is to see whatever surgeon or whatever to talk about getting a cochlear implant or getting a bone implant or whatever it is, and I have no urgency to do that. It's not like I'm like, oh no, I don't want to have a cochlear implant in my ear. It's just like, yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, you're like, well, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Like
if it was like, oh, like you need to have surgery on your knee or else you won't be able to walk again, I'd be like, oh, let's get this taken care of. But it's like, I just can't hear groups of people talking. That's a plus.
Yes, it's kind of a plus. I want to, well, this podcast, for everybody listening who's listening for the first time, thank you for sticking around this far. We haven't even done the proper intro where we describe what the show's about or anything like that. We just dove right in. But this podcast is a positivity-based fitness podcast where we talk about improving yourself and the community around you, focusing on your mind, body, and relationships. And so we are unqualified. I need to say that. We are not qualified in any way to give advice. We are not qualified in any way to diagnose anything medically. We are fuck around guys who like the gym and want to stop people being toxic about it. That does that sum it up kind of?
We have the same qualifications as the woman who says that quartz is magic.
There is so much truth to that it hurt my feelings a little bit. There's so much truth to that. We are qualified for very little. I mean, look, the irony of being a medical professional at the level I'm at is very funny because I'm like, I don't know, man. For the record, I was a paramedic for a long time. I work in the ICU doing like cardiac telemetry, which is like heart monitor, heart rhythms and stuff like that, and arrhythmias. So I can't tell you anything about other than those things without any kind of like authority. But I've been around a lot of medical shit to give a kind of like an objective response to like what I witnessed. I'll give you a what is it? An eyewitness account of stuff. But beyond that, there's no authority here. There's no authority here.
It's like I used to know a woman who was a paralegal, and so she'd be like, "Well, you know, I work at a lawyer's office, so if you want some advice about the law, it's like, not from you, from a lawyer, I would."
Yeah, it's also like, as much as I respect that position, because it is like,
Yeah.
I will absolutely respect a paralegal's opinion about how to file things in court and how paperwork gets handled legally and all of the like procedural shit, because that's the stuff that they kind of are more aware of. They're not writing the briefs, you know what I mean? Or maybe they are. Like, I don't know how much. Like, I always think about like the shitty boomer CEOs that don't know how to rotate a PDF or send an email, and then they get paid bazillions of dollars and are the ones who are in charge of companies when there are like people below them doing the actual work. I wonder how much of that works for lawyers. Like, how much of the paralegal. I mean, you know what? I'm tired of this. Let's bring AI into this. Let's bring AI. Let's. I'm not going to say it. Random AI device. What does a paralegal do?
While you're looking that up, might I suggest that we change the name of the show to the ADHD podcast?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. We talk about mental health on this show too, and it is absolutely there. I've never been diagnosed, and again, this is one of those things where would it benefit me at this stage to know that I have ADHD, or should I just use all the pop psychology I learned from TikTok to diagnose myself?
I got diagnosed like 2 years ago, and like it did actually help. It like all the pieces started to fit together. Things started to click. Like they were when I got diagnosed, I was like, oh, so I have that adult onset ADHD, and she was like, oh no, you've had it your whole life. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, you told me that you were really good at taking tests, but you never did homework, and that blah 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 and blah blah blah. And it was like, and I was like, how come I never got diagnosed? And she said people with higher intelligences who have ADHD are really good at hiding it and compensating for it, so they never get diagnosed. And back then, like when we were kids, it was like if you were bouncing off the walls, it was like, oh, hyper. So obviously the hyper kids have the ADHD. Right. But I was like the shy kid who just like kept to himself. So everybody was like, oh no, if he had ADHD, he'd be running around being crazy. But I was like calm and collected looking. And so I was like, oh, I've just always had it. And then I started thinking about like social anxiety and stuff was also there, where it was like, oh yeah, that's also a symptom of people who have ADHD and they don't like to be in social groups. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, oh, if I got diagnosed earlier, how much better my life would have been. Like as a kid, as a teen, as a college kid,
coping mechanisms,
adult,
yes.
Where I was like, oh, I could have figured shit out.
God, I will tell you right now, you said too many things that are hitting real close to home. Oh boy, like H-less ADHD, just the ADD is what I always jokingly say that I guess I always had that. I was never really the hyper kid. I was always literally everything points to me having it except for an actual diagnosis. Oh, look, my stepmom is in the chat. Hello, Yolanda. Mom Koji, Eddie, my brother, has ADHD diagnosed. And she said genetics.
Yeah.
I, without a doubt, think my dad has ADHD as well, or ADD. Again, I don't know. We talk about not. I've in past episodes I said I don't want to use diagnoses that are real things. You know what I mean? Like that are genuinely like clinical diagnosis to joke around about how scatterbrained I am. This is not that. This is genuinely like I think I could have it. My brother, last month's diagnosis, has it. I fully believe my dad is on there, like the spectrum of ADHD. I have to have it. Yeah. Look at my stuff. Your dad definitely must have it. Oh boy.
Yeah, my brother had it.
I don't know why that's striking me. It's so funny.
Where it's just like so obvious. Like,
yeah,
your
father
dad
has it.
Mike, who we kidding here? You come from a long line of spazzes.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is genetic.
Maybe I should get tested. Maybe I should get ADHD medication. Yolanda, did Eddie get medication prescribed? I'd be curious to see about that side of things.
Yeah, like my brother had it when we were kids, and he had like old school. He had like Ritalin. Remember, like Ritalin was a thing.
Yes,
give these hyper kids Ritalin. And so
is that why he does balloons now?
He's actually, I feel like sometimes like ADHD can be like a superpower where it's just like, because like he does a lot of like children's parties and stuff where it's like, and children are kind of like that just naturally. So he's able to be like,
interesting.
Hey kid. And he's like, because the ADHD thing is you're processing multiple things at the same time and you're firing in all cylinders. So he's really good at like talking to the kids and blah, blah, blah. And he's like such a good like host. And he's like really like outgoing, and because he has the H in the ADHD. Also,
the H is important.
When I got diagnosed, I was like, oh, so I don't have ADHD, I just have ADD. And she was like, that's actually something we don't say anymore. It's just all ADHD. And it's not ADD. It's just all ADHD to varying degrees or whatever it is. And it also takes, like, it's like if somebody has depression or bipolar disorder or what do you call it? The one that's popular on TikTok now, autism. Yeah, like, so it's like all those things also factor into how ADHD manifests.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Like, my brother did get medication. I have no clue what med. I'll have to ask him. I will ask him, actually. I'm curious as to the process, because what if we do it live on the podcast? How do I do it on the podcast? How do I monetize my weird ailments? How do I do it? I want to talk about it on the show.
We're like 2 episodes away from like telling people how to retroactively make Adderall back into crystal meth.
Yeah, we're about to Breaking Bad. The health. This started as like a self-improvement podcast, right? It's like, what's better than improving how much meth is in my system? Huh?
We're coming to you live.
What's better than
Winnebago?
That? Yeah. I will find out about this. Speaking of ADHD, what we were talking, I guess this is the superpower part. I do remember what we were talking about because I have it over here. I like using I've coped with my ADHD has turned into me using all kinds of tools and scheduling software and reminder apps and notes and things to offload some of the thinking off my brain into a device of some kind. And what we were talking about before we were derailed, do you remember? It was, what does a paralegal do? And I asked an AI what a paralegal does: legal research, drafting legal documents, case management, client communication. But then it says, here are some of the things to keep in mind about paralegals. They cannot provide legal advice or represent clients in court. They specialize in a particular area, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So there is certification that involves some sort of degree in paralegal studies involved, but they cannot give legal advice, which I guess is actually a legal term. Mm-hmm. Someone can advise you on legal matters, but I guess like someone giving legal advice is like a legal term also. Yeah. Either way, we've learned something today, or about ADHD and about paralegals. What, are you going to get that from another podcast? No, you're not.
What were we talking about before? Oh, then we were talking about pride. We're talking about
pride. We're talking about your ear. We're talking about claustrophobia in MRI tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The idea of the scatteredness of our brains has to have something to do with the fact that we thrive in this kind of like this kind of environment for communication where like it's documented for future. Like I could always come back to it. Yeah. Helps my brain remember it now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like when I was doing stand-up, which I will talk about now, I tried to go to an open mic. Something happened. I will tell you what happened.
Oh yeah.
When I was doing more comedy, we were both doing comedy in New York. I would voice memo all of my sets and never listen to them because I would remember, like just knowing it was being recorded would help me remember. Does that make sense to you? Like when you rewrite notes in some way, writing the note down originally is your brain. You don't have to study. You just keep writing your notes over and over again. That process forces your brain to register the information differently. At least that's what I was told as a tip. Like if you ever want to study, don't just read your notes, rewrite your notes, and the studying will be done in half the time because you'll retain it more.
Whenever I would listen to somebody talk, I would just write down keywords, what they were saying, like Walden, ants, pond.
Right. Yeah. It's like, what is it? What are these hieroglyphics? What is this, a passcode? Yeah.
Democracy. Yeah, whatever.
The studying part was what we were talking about, was having all of these tools to wrangle our brains. I feel also gives us access to the thing that is unwrangling our brains, which is like I have social media and my organization apps in the same device. That feels like a flaw in the design, right? Doesn't that feel like a problem?
That's why, like at the gym, like I was like, I'm gonna do the thing where I write down all my sets and how much I lifted and blah blah blah. But as soon as I would do that, it'd be like, and let me just tap on Facebook real quick. Let me just tap on Instagram. And it was just like, I gotta just throw. I'm just gonna try to remember it as I do it.
So again, like I struggle with that because I've been for a long time. I was the guy that would just show up at the gym and be like, "What am I doing?" And I would do the same 3 exercises and leave. And like there was no plan. There was just like, "Oh, what did I do? What did I used to do?" And I would just do like bench. I would do bench, shoulders, and arms, and I'd be like, "I guess that's good." And then the next day, I'd be like, "Squat." That's it. Just do squats. Just literally just do squats the whole time and do anything quad workout. And then because that's what I did in high school. That's how I learned to work out.
Yeah.
And then now all of these tools, like something you recommended to me, there's on my phone. It connects to my watch. My watch is also one of these like devious self-improvement devices that also contains every notification possible.
To
distract me. Where if I have my phone silenced, my watch will still vibrate, and then suddenly I'm like super distracted from my wife, and I got into an argument over it because she was like, "Why are you looking at your watch?" Like, I'm like, I had to plan to turn off all my notifications when I'm at home because they would vibrate on my watch. But my watch also tracks all my biometrics and all my data from the day to make sure that I'm getting all my steps.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird confluence of good and bad. It's like when I go to the gym and I track all my workouts in an app, the watch keeps me from opening my phone, which has social media on there. So I would just track the stuff on my watch. Bro, as soon as I'm done working out and I'm home, every latent or lagging notification that I did not get when I was at the gym suddenly comes in, and now I'm in a social media hole for 20 minutes to an hour after my workout. I'm like, oh, I should probably shower. Like it's like a catch-22 of technology.
There's a thing when you don't shower after the gym and you just like chill out for a while and you're like, oh, I probably should have showered, and your skin starts to get like crispy because the sweat
gross. Yes.
turned into like
it is. It's like when you go to the beach and you get out of the ocean and then you're just kind of sitting there and all of a sudden you go to move again and everything cracks. It's like, oh, that's got to be bad for me.
Oh.
Crinkle. But yeah, to go back to what we were talking about, the podcast format works for us because you're forced to deal with like the linearity of a recording.
Yeah.
Like even though we're jumping around all over the place, we always kind of have a thing to come back to: the title of the show, who's on the show with me, what the topic is. Like we have all these visual reminders. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so dumb. It's so dumb. We can't even fucking focus our brains. It's such an obvious thing that we both struggle with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Oh man, is that why so many podcasts and radio shows have like a third mic? Where it's just like it's usually like the classic like morning show
Robin
thing.
Yeah
where it's like
the girl. It's
yeah,
usually the girl.
Like, guys.
Hey guys, let's get back on track. It's the ADHD wrangler. It's the third mic. Oh my god.
The cat wrangler.
Yeah, we just need the chat to be it. The chat today is Yolanda. She's late to the podcast. They all exist. If you go to Zeros on Heroes on YouTube and Zeros on Heroes on Instagram, there's clips all over the place. She's heard of this thing called the gym. You know what? I feel like Yolanda is a great person to. Yolanda, you're a great person for what this podcast is kind of about, because let me break it down to you. The gym is all around you. The gym is inside us the whole time. The gym is the friends we made along the way. The gym is whatever you can do to improve your body in any way. I feel like that gets overlooked all the time, because it really is just like the gym is just the building in which we put our exercise in, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's just convenient for modern society to do it that way.
Can I say that I know you grew up Christian or Catholic because you just replaced gym with church. And you're like, the church is all around us. The church is inside of us. The church is us as a people. The building is not the church. The church is everything.
The building is not the church. Fuck you. That's so good.
You know, the word Catholic actually means universal. So we are universal presence.
Oh, that was embarrassingly a bullseye.
Yeah.
Like what is it? I've been read to filth. Happy Pride, everybody. Oh God. Look, the truth is, when we're talking about fitness, we're not really talking about the gym, are we? Like, we could speak. I know plenty of people who do body weight stuff. I know plenty of people who do. When during COVID, what was it that you were doing? You were working out on the fucking rafters on the scaffolding in New York City.
I was doing classic like Bronx style outside on the scaffolding. I was doing running around the Washington Square Park.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about that. I remember you sent me pictures that the scaffolding, the bars were like at an angle, so it was like easier on your wrists to do pull-ups or some shit.
Yeah, it was also
there's also like the thick bar, like you were doing like axle bar pull-ups, which is also kind of badass.
The thicker the bar itself, the better it is for your forearms, the more strength you get out of your forearms. And it was like, then it was also like I started like looking at a lot of like army workouts, because a lot of the army workouts are outside. And I guess in the army now, instead of doing like pull-ups like this, they changed it so you have to do a pull-up like in front of you, like you grab the bar like this and then you like pull up like this, on either side.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I guess it's like that's more of a functional pull-up than just doing this.
Well, because I think they're talking about like rope climbing strength, as opposed to just being able to like for the fire academy in France, which I have family in France, and my cousin was a district chief. He climbed all the ranks as a firefighter in France, and they do something called La Planche, which is a platform up off the wall, like it's hanging, like on the wall. It's like about the size of a pallet.
Yeah.
So, and it's like this thick, right? And it's high enough off the ground that you have to, and the whole point of the test is you have to get on top of it. It's far from the wall, so you can't use the wall to pull yourself up. So you basically have to do a muscle up on a platform. So if you can do a full muscle up on just the edge, which has no bar to grip, like you can't pull yourself forward, it's a flat platform, that's the test. It is so much harder than you think it is, because you can't leap up there. It's from a full dead hang. And the final test is you have to do it in full bunker gear with a pack.
Jesus.
Because they need to know, again, a functional thing. They need to know that if you're hanging from something, that you can pull yourself up for it and not just let yourself go and fall. And I'm like, that is the most like functional workout you could ever do, where the whole point is like, get up there. And you're like, well, what's the workout? Just get up there. And it's like, well, how do I get up there? And they're like, that's on you, buddy. And you're like, oh, and then now you have to use like every muscle in your body, every every strategy, every piece of friction that you can get from a wide hand as opposed to a closed hand, where you're like trying to get friction to be able to push. It's insane and it sucks. It's so hard. I didn't have to do that to get certified as a firefighter. Thank God, because I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'm too heavy. I don't think I would have been able to do it.
Yeah, that's a huge test of strength. It's just a simple pull-up, because it is like the thing where it's like, oh, you're a skinny little 110-pound kid with, you know, your arm length is half as long, half shorter than mine. Like, it's like, yeah, that's why if you see somebody like bodybuilders and stuff like that, they use the assisted pull-up machine at the gym, you know, where it's like they have the platform that goes up and down, you put your knees on it. And it's so anytime somebody's like, I don't want to use the assisted pull-up, I don't look like a pussy. It's like, bro, there are fucking bodybuilders, power lifters who use it, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do it. But it's also one of the greatest strength building exercises for your back, where it's like the guy I sent you the Thor workout from Mike Tail. He said he laughs whenever somebody says, oh, I can do like 30 pull-ups. He's like, if you can do 10 proper pull-ups, that is a feat. If you're going from straight dead hang to like above your chin, all the like full range of motion pull-up, that 10 of those is remarkable. A set of 10 is like fantastic.
I can't do a full. Well, here's also another problem: is tall folk. I can never find a place where I can do a full dead hang that doesn't have me pulling my legs back under me or doing like an L sit.
Yeah.
And that gasses you so much faster. And like, I don't think people understand, like I'm holding tension in my huge muscle structures, right? Like I'm holding tension in my hamstrings, holding tension in my calves, holding tension in my abs, holding tension, because I can't dead hang from a high enough place. That's another topic.
Yeah, I mean,
another subject.
We're kind of the same subject, where it's like when I do hanging leg raises, I have to, instead of just like doing a classic hanging leg raise, because I'm so long and lanky, I have to like do almost like a static hold where I'm like using my triceps and also using my shoulders, my back, my lats, and that way I can do it without scraping the floor.
Right. It's such an odd thing. Look, going back to Yolanda's.
By the way, Yolanda is probably top 3 of my favorite names of all time. Anytime I hear the name Yolanda, I'm like, oh, what a great name.
Solid name. Super solid name.
It's got a nice rhythm to it, like Yolanda.
Yolanda. That is, it ends in a vowel. Yeah. It's a solid name. Good name, Yolanda. Yeah. It's also one of those things where you did, like, unless you choose your own identity later on in life, you're kind of stuck with the name you're born with. Most people are, like, I would venture to say, like, that's a huge majority. People just live their whole life with the name that their parents gave them. Yeah. So that's like the first gift you're given to choose to identify with, you know? Like, my brother is Tony, but my dad is also Tony. So he was little Tony, Tonito. Ooh. Ito is the minusculization suffix in Spanish. So he was always Tonito, but I was Mike. A very English American name, Michael, well, Jewish Hebrew name, but it's it's hard to make minuscule. So it was, you can't Mikeito me. You can't, like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work. But Tonito does. Mikey. Not Latinos don't do Mikey. Latinos don't do that shit. But that was
like Miguelito. Right?
Oh, don't you dare call me Miguel. That is not my name. That is not my name. But it is like funny how like people start to like, that's like the first thing you kind of identify with until you're like where someone's like, hey, could you just call me I'm a 42-year-old man. I'm not a Robbie anymore. Could you call me Robert, please, or Rob? It's like, hey, I'm an adult. That's like one of the first adult moves that like my name is Thomas.
Yeah.
My name is William.
You know what's funny? I never went by William ever, but I have a few people calling me William now, and I kind of dig it.
It's pretty good. My wife calls me Michael, and she's the only one in my life that I like, that for some reason locked onto, because I've always been Mike. Yeah, I've always been Mike. My mom called me Michael for a long time, and even now she kind of does. But even then, like when she refers to other people, I'm a Mike. But when my uncle is Richie to my mom, so I grew up with him as Richie. But there was a moment when my stepdad was calling him Richie, and then my uncle goes to him and says, "Hey, it's Rick." Because my mom, he's my mom's little brother, so he's Richie to my mom and to me and all that stuff, and to certain people in the family and all that stuff. But hey, that's inside business. You're an outsider. You got to call me Rick. It's, again, the ADHD podcast. Why did we start talking about that shit? Names. Yolanda. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yolanda is a perfect example of like what we talk about on the show. And Yolanda, I love you, and I want to encourage any exploration into fitness and self-improvement in any way. So one of the things I was talking about, like ties in perfectly with some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about today, which is today, one of the things that the phrase we came up with last episode, but I've really been thinking about it, is collateral benefit. Instead of collateral damage, like something just accidentally gets hurt, how can you like incidentally benefit your life? And fitness is one of those things where if you're doing any kind of healthy physical activity that raises your heart rate and isn't a high impact situation, the collateral benefits are kind of huge. Like when I was doing dumbbell workouts, the collateral benefit is that I have to now work on my balance, which engages more.
All right, way to put salt in the wound, buddy.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Great balance.
Hey, ableism rears its head in many ways. No, but you understand. Yeah. No, but I don't have good balance, and also like it forces like you to think about your form more. It's not like on a track, like on a machine, but also like something as simple as having stairs in your house. That is something I don't think people realize. Like I have stairs in my house, in my apartment. We have a loft kind of bedroom situation, so I'm up and down those stairs like 1,000 times a day. And there has to be a collateral benefit that that you don't even register. So if you can trick your brain into doing some, or like just start some process where the collateral benefit is some sort of raising your heart rate or flexibility or just having a different schedule of eating or something. One of these things that you will incidentally have a benefit additional to than the one you intended. Does that make sense?
I mean, classic thing is, when you go to the gym, you have to consume two things, which is water and protein. And one of the collateral benefits was that my skin cleared up. My skin was great. My hair grew really fast. My nails grew really fast and healthy. And my wife's like, how come yours stuff is so much? It's like she's taking the serums and the polishes and all that. I'm like, yeah, it's just protein and water. I just drink a lot of water and eat protein a lot of protein. And water. And it's just
after she sent you to hell and told you to go fuck yourself. What was the?
After she burned all my clothes.
She waiting to exhale you.
Or even doing deadlifts, where it was I was like, I'm gonna do some RDLs, work on the glutes, work on the hip flexors, all that kind of stuff. But then it was also like, oh, my posture's improved, because you have to do this at the top. So it's like, oh yeah, I don't have the phone.
The butt clench. Yeah, the butt clench forces you to pull your shoulders back. And the butt clench also replaces, not replaces, but restabilizes where your hip is supposed to be.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I just recently discovered that I have to do some fascial release on my psoas muscle, which, boy, that is a weird process to get in there.
What is psoas muscle?
It's the one that's deep inside under your abs. It stabilizes your pelvis under your. Someone was like, oh, if you have this pain, and I'm like, I do have that pain. You need to do something about your psoas muscle. And I was like, how do I do that? And then they showed some contraption that they were using. And I'm like digging into behind where their abs are. And they're like, it hurts a lot, but you'll feel, I'm like, Jesus, you're telling me that the thing I have to do hurts a lot? Not even oh, you'll feel slight pressure. No, it's going to hurt like a motherfucker. But at the end of it, you'll feel slightly better. It's like, do that for 2 months. And it's like, yeah, all right, I guess. Yolanda's saying, look, she has. I go up and down the stairs numerous times a day. Um, you're basically one step ahead of people who don't have stairs,
Yeah.
right? Like everything you're doing, and again, stairs feel like a little high impact if you have say sore knees from the stairs. The irony being that there's a version of this where you just walk up and down your stairs for 30 minutes and see what that does for your heart, and see what that does for like for your, because that's engaging literally the largest muscle groups in your body and the most calorie burning muscles in your body. Like that's kind of the way all exercise works. Like it's like, did you accidentally figure out like, it's another Brian Regan bit where they sell the step. He's like, I ordered one and then it came and I ran down the steps and I got it. It's like, well, yeah, you have steps in your house. Something as simple as like I do on the treadmill, I do the incline 12 degree, 3 minutes, 3 miles per hour for 30 minutes, right? It's great for my knees because I'm not doing the full step up, but it's like hiking. It's essentially just hiking up a hill for half an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm gassed. I am gassed at the end. And like dripping sweat because it's literally just about getting your heart rate up and maintaining that for enough time where you get the cardiovascular benefits, the metabolic benefits, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what other like incidental workouts you can do that don't involve the gym that also aren't like you're going to get down and do 20 push-ups. It's like, man, I don't know. A lot of people can't do 20 push-ups. Like, where do you start? And if it's like getting up and down from a chair, like those people who want to do squats, but it's like just, okay, well, sit down, stand up, and just keep doing that while you're watching a show.
Yeah.
You will be sweating by the end of it. You will be, there's no, like the collateral benefit is that you cannot avoid increasing your heart rate if you do that. I don't know. Do you have, what are your favorite body weight things, or like if a beginner recommendation or something like that?
For beginners, I mean, if you want to do like push-ups and stuff, the easiest thing is just to angle your body against the wall and just like push against the wall, just like fall into the wall and push yourself off, because there's like very little incline, but it's all just like you're getting your body into motion, and then from the wall, then you take it down to a stool or a chair, and you can do push-ups on that, and then eventually you can do it flat on the floor. And if you want to increase it, then you put your feet up on a couch while you do it on the floor or whatever it is.
Now, do you feel that push-ups is like a good starting point for exercise? Like if to get the most bang for your buck? Because I have always thought that working, like doing anything with your legs and your butt has been, that was a thing that was kind of drilled into me, where it's like, if you can use those more, that will get you the most bang for your buck workout wise. Even if it's just cardiovascular, if it's just metabolic, some sort of like get your heart rate up kind of stuff.
I would say actually, as I was saying that, probably the better way to start for push-ups, and also I think it's probably the best overall, is just the simple plank, because
yes,
it's the thing where if you really just want to start out by doing like a cat-cow, where you're like on your elbows and your knees, and you can do a little bit of a cat-cow, maybe move your hips, move your core and stuff, and then as you start to get stronger, more comfortable, then you can do the plank on your knees, but now you're using your hands and your palms are on the ground, and then go from the knees down to the feet. Now you're holding it for 30 seconds, and then you can hold a plank for 60 seconds, and now you got your arms, you got your legs, you got your core moving. Your spinal erectors are activated, and they're making sure that your all your muscles are firing correctly, and that you have a strong back, strong hips, strong legs.
Yeah, that strong back thing, I think I did not respect enough in my younger life. That idea of like, I still don't think I value abs as much as I should for all of the exercises that I need to do to strengthen my back. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think I respect the plank enough. That might be something that I incorporate into my stuff.
One of the things that got me into, because that was always oh, I want abs for, to look good or whatever it was. And so I would just do countless crunches and blah, blah, blah. And it never really came through. And then I was like, then I got sciatica a few years ago. And that's like just fucking debilitating. And then I was like, let me do all these like stretches for it. And all the stretches kind of helped it, made it go away. And then so if you want to prevent that, actually a good way to do it is just to increase the strength of your abs. And the abs are like any other muscle where you need that progressive overload. Or if you're doing 100 sit-ups, you're not really putting any resistance against it. So it's like get on the cables and do like a kneeling cable crunch, or put a weight across your chest, or whatever it is. We have to progressively overload. And this week you do 10 pounds. Next week, 15, 20. Next, like I'm doing like like 150 on the cable crunch now, where it's like, oh yeah, this is like an actual muscle, and like my back is totally fine now. Where it's like,
right,
because it's not like your abs aren't like a vanity muscle. Your abs have a purpose, and the purpose is to flex your spine. Like it's not just to keep all your guts in. It's the thing that moves your spine.
Have you ever seen that video of it's like these world's strongest man competitors, like, and then they're like, oh, it's like, oh, so you're gonna try to cut. So it was an interview with one of them. It's like, oh, do you want to cut down to like, so that you can? He's like, yeah, you're trying to get abs, and he's like, the world's strongest men, these guys that have huge guts and these like big giant torsos. He's like, and he pulls up his shirt. He's like, let me show you something, and he does a ab clinch, and he has like abs on top of his gigantic thick torso.
Yeah.
And they are like carved, like he's like, I have to, like, the abs aren't a show muscle. They're a functional muscle.
Yeah.
And he's like, the more you work out any muscle, the bigger they get. The only reason you see abs is because they're visible, they're dehydrated. Their body fat is too low to form like a functional, like stable girdle around your body. It's like crazy. So it's like, it's interesting, like how people think of abs. They're like, oh, does this guy have abs? Like, I hope so. Otherwise, he's like had them removed from his body. And everybody does. Everybody has abs under there somewhere. But are you nurturing them?
Yeah.
Are you providing them a caring environment?
Like all these trainers and YouTube fitness people do the thing where it's like, how do I get abs? Well, you have abs. You just have to reduce your body fat down to sub 15% body fat for men. Like, that's what it is.
People are like, that's not the answer I wanted to hear. So I'm going to report you for misinformation.
And it is also the thing where it's like, it's kind of a cancelable phrase, but it's like an old one that like people use in bodybuilding, which is abs on a skinny guy, or like tits on a fat chick, where it's like they don't count. Where it's like, in like bodybuilding stuff, they call it getting the Hawaiian rolls. Where it's, it looks like a package of Hawaiian rolls where it's like pop, 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 pop. So it's it is the thing where it's like, are your abs gonna do anything?
Yeah. Are they it's like what are they doing besides just kind of sitting there? Yolanda says her abs are hiding. And that's a perfectly reasonable thing, abs can hide.
It's
and
like
that her tits count. Her tits count. They still are. Boobs are just adipose tissue wrapped around a modified sweat gland. That's what it is. It's so weird that that's what boobs are. And it's all about like, let's look at them.
If you want to talk about more medical diagnoses that are kind of fucked up, is I've always held a lot of my fat like in my chest, whereas like most people hold it like a lot. Oh yeah, the left hand. I get them all in my chest, but like it's why I had like when I was a fat little kid, everyone made fun of me for the man boobs, and then it was like, oh, I'm doing a bunch of push-ups and bench presses, because that was back in the age of like the myth of spot reduction, where it's like, I'm just gonna work my chest a lot, so I just have like massive fucking pectorals now, where it's like they look even bigger. But then it was also like, went to a doctor, they're like, well, you do have excess fat around your chest area, which, do you have a history of breast cancer in your family? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, you got to be on the lookout, because men who have, and I was like, Jesus, my sweet juicy tits. No, no.
Oh man, wait till you, like, come on. Can't women have a thing of their own, and you got to barge in there, take away a woman's space? How dare you, Will? You were talking about sciatica, and it reminded me very loving. Like I had when I really fucked up my back, I was desperate for kind of like direction, some kind of advice, and I found these dudes, Bob and Brett. Yolanda, I recommend these guys so much. It was like a father figure, some like see these like cool old, these very thoughtful older uncles guiding me through what was essentially my injury. Bob and Brad, poor Bob, he's no longer on the channel because he got sick. He has a cerebral ataxia, and they talk about that sort of stuff. And they went. I watched so many of these guys' videos that they some of them are kind of bullshit, but it was such a beneficial thing to think of like stuff as like think of it from an older man's perspective as opposed to how I was when I was 20. And I don't mean this to insult you in any way, but it's like when you got miles on your joints and on your back and on your muscles, you have to think about it differently than some of these fucking fitness influencers who are 22 and have zero history. They're operating purely on genetics and steroids. And then we're supposed to listen to them for their experience. Fuck you. These guys know what's up. These guys watch them. Watch all of their stuff. I highly recommend it. They got me through the emotional load of being hurt very badly and not feeling like I could do anything about it.
Yeah, I think when I had my sciatica is when I found these guys, and this was years ago. And I was watching the videos, where some of their first videos where it was just like a camcorder with like the worst editing of all time. Like they would like mess up, and dad jokes galore. And but it was like, it was tough to get through because I was so like critical of like the media presentation, but it was like I knew they were giving good advice, so I was like, I'm gonna make myself. It's like the same advice somebody gave you about like, oh, this is gonna hurt, but it's gonna help you. It's like, this is hurting my soul, but it's gonna help my back.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so funny. Like I learned about nerve flossing from these guys. I'm telling you, it's I don't give a shit about these young influencers anymore. I want to find these old man influencers because I can do this stuff. I can't be 22 again. You know what I'm saying? Like this is great. I prefer this.
What's he saying is the best exercise? What's that one there?
Which one? Best exercise? Let's see.
Leg strengthening can be easier than you think.
That's right. Now, actually, we've narrowed it down to one exercise that's going to strengthen your legs, keep you mobile,
Bulgarian split squat.
We'll be right with
I'm listening.
All right, when picking the best leg exercise.
Look how flexible that I want to be as flexible as he is at that age.
That's also how old dudes at the gym locker room stand when they're naked.
That works numerous muscle groups like the quads and the glutes.
That's right. Now, the next thing is not so obvious, but we want to strengthen each leg individually as opposed to both at the same time. It can make a big difference on function. The next key aspect is actually to strengthen your legs individually.
It's literally going to be a split squat.
And then we're going to switch positions and do the same thing on the other side.
Good. Now we're going to show you some options that if you are having knee pain, how you can work around that. And
I am having knee pain. I'm telling you. Okay, you see? All right. You see? Okay. I 1000% stopped doing these because I was having knee pain. I'm telling you, this is perfect. These guys are great.
Them saying this goes along with the collateral benefit like you were talking about before. Like I always kind of had like knee pain and my flexibility was terrible. So when I first started squatting, I was doing like the half squat where I wasn't going below the 90 degrees. And then slowly over time, when I started doing the teabag and the devil ass to grass, like all the way down. And then both like the very, very lightweight, humble yourself kind of thing. And then after I did that for like a couple months, it was like my knee pain was gone. And it was like, oh man, was I just like not properly stretching? Like I just wasn't, because like you walk around New York City and you never really truly bend your knees.
Everything feels warm already, but not fully. Not the whole stretch, not the full extent of the ligaments, tendons, and muscle.
Yeah, like how, like in your daily life, how often do you squat all the way down? Because it's always like the most I would squat is to sit on the couch or sit on a chair or whatever it was, and even that's like 90 degrees, and then I'll throw my legs up onto a ottoman or whatever it is. So
I'm telling you. Look, my dad is having surgery July 26th. I'm going to put that in the calendar so I can follow up. Let me talk to my dad about his surgery and show him Bob and Brad.
yeah,
Bob and Brad are the perfect example of things to watch for that sort of thing.
see if he'll let us live stream the surgery.
Hey, yeah, Dad, can we?
I want to see inside you.
I want to see inside your guts, your muscles. I want to see. It's like Saw. The idea that there is, so I've grown to really kind of appreciate, I guess this is the mind aspect of it, because watching Bob and Brad really helped calm my mind when I hurt myself, because they were talking about, for me, it's the biggest injury to that point in my life. But to them, they're like, okay, so here's how you, they've seen it a million times. And it was kind of like a calming effect coming from people who, he's like, when he was like, oh, I have stenosis in my spine. So when I do this, that, and the other, I immediately was like, not dismissing the young person going, well, what you got to do is you got to max out this, that, the other, because it's like, don't worry about your knees. Don't worry about your back. Do it this way. Get that gains. And it's like, no. Relating to that aspect of it, seeing someone who's been there before me, someone who's gotten through to the other side of something, is so much more powerful when it comes to like fitness and caring for your body than it like when someone who's an alcoholic goes to AA and they get a sponsor. Well, I have my own problems with AA and how there's the way it's handled. Certain religious parts of it are handled. But the idea that there's someone who's been there, that's a sponsor, that knows where, so they can't say, oh, you don't understand, man, you don't get it. It's that idea of like, no, they're telling you what to do because they do get it. That is so powerful to me when I found these guys. Like, I still have this kind of like, oh, I wonder how these old guys are doing. Let me go check in. And they're cranking out videos, and I feel bad for Bob, but he's going through his care, and I just watched a video showing him how he's doing better. It's like I grew like an affinity towards the idea of these people just trying to help people out. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, it did a lot for my mind at a very like kind of stressful time.
I think one of the reliefs when you, as terrible as the internet is, horrific as the internet is, as troubling as the internet is, it does bring a sense of community, which is a big part of the podcast. Which is whenever you get an injury or something like that, you think you're alone. And that it's like, oh no, but then you see like, oh, that person also has this. Or it doesn't even have to be an injury, some sort of illness, disease, whatever it is, and the thing with the ear and all that. Like I was like Googling online and finding all these videos and stuff like that. But it is like, oh yeah, I'm not alone. This is a thing that's happened before. It's not that uncommon. Like here are people who can help me. Here are people, experiences of what people have gone through, that kind of thing. And also, when I was looking up YouTube about my ear, a lot of the videos were about tinnitus, and I found this one guy. And to your point, he was an ear doctor, like an ENT guy, and every time he said tinnitus or tinnitus, he did both,
right?
Because even he, a doctor who went to medical school, was like, the difference between sensory neural and tinnitus is blah blah blah, and it's like, why is this guy he's like Johnny
tinnitus?
He's like Johnny two times, like
get it.
But yeah, it is the thing of community. You're not alone. There are people who've gone through this. There are people who can help you. Yeah,
and I do think that this is I guess this is where you have to have some intentionality, right? Like the tools we have available to us do give us access to some of the worst aspects of humanity, but also like it does form that community. So you have to kind of be intentional with what you look at and what you exclude. I don't know if we talked about it, but I went through this. Did you hear about the TikTok block out of 2024? Where after the Met, did we talk about it on the show? I don't want to like double up on something, but I have since blocked people who I don't feel add value to my life, right? It's not that I wasn't following them and they can exist out there. I have actually gone out of my way to seek out people that I do not want to see in my feeds or in my algorithms.
Yeah.
Which is I blocked a lot of corporate accounts. I don't give a shit that the Wendy's account, the Twitter account is very clever and fire. I don't fucking care. Wendy's uses slave labor in their farms. You know what I mean? Like McDonald's. If you know me, you know how close McDonald's is to my life. That I block all corporate social media accounts. If I see one, it pops up in my feed. I'm like, oh, get ready, gone. TikTok has become like QVC, Home Shopping Network, where everybody's trying to fucking sell you something. If there's an account that tries to sell me something, blocked. Any influencer, anyone who has like multi-millions of followers, but I can't pinpoint why, and they've shown up on my feed, and I'm like,
that's a good one.
Blocked. You clearly mean something to people that if I don't already know who you are and I don't know the service you provide in the world, blocked. Now all I'm left with is normal human people sharing their experiences online without kind of like a motive. And it's done wonders for my sanity, wonders for my like doom scrolling where I'm about to go through all my social media platforms and just trim the fat, you know. And I'm not talking about people like in my life or any people I actually know. It's literally just turn social networking back into a thing that it was supposed to be. People you know in your community, in your circles that you share and something in common with. And other than that, get chop.
Yeah, I go one step further where even on Facebook, it'll be somebody be like, hey, I just gave birth to my baby. And I'm like, how do I know this person? And like click on it and it's like, I have no idea who this person is. And I'm like, hey, congratulations on your baby, but I'm removing you.
But not just unfriending or unfollowing. I'm talking about blocks. Like I am blocking people. That's why if it's like, oh, I'll unfollow them and unfriend them or whatever. But if there's somebody who like is genuinely like, I'm talking about blocks. Like it's like, oh, I wasn't even following the Kardashians. Well, guess what? I never will because they're blocked.
Do you think like Kim Kardashian is like, how come Mike Mercadal's blocked me?
That one random comedian I saw do a guest spot at the Miami Improv a million years ago. He unfollowed me. He blocked me. I was a
huge fan of Mount Geekmore, and now I can't hear about the 5 best.
I can't wait to check out the next episode of Just Trying to Look Like You. Hey, wait a minute.
Well, Kim, I haven't blocked you yet, so feel free. You can follow me as long as you want and sell me your Spanx knockoff, whatever it is.
Your whatever bullshit makeup company.
Your
Ozempic,
nipples.
your off-brand Ozempic Light or whatever it is. I want to dismount with that sort of thing. The collateral benefit of that should have been the name of the podcast. Collateral benefit. God damn it! We're rebranding. The collateral benefit of that act of blocking gave me a sense of control over a certain aspect of a negativity. You know, like it gave me control over something that I feel like I'm steering the ship back towards positive. The same way that I've been going to the gym every day. Feels like I'm steering this giant ship into the right direction. Mm-hmm. You know, like each little thing you're doing kind of has this overall collateral benefit of steering the ship in a way of improvement. Whatever that means. I don't care. I'll figure out how it is improved, but there's an undeniable truth to that. It will improve. My actions are causing some sort of improvement, even if it's just an awareness, like your test of your ear, an awareness of something that if I can change it, I will. If not, I have to learn how to accept it. Either way, I've gone one step further than I was. You know, that aspect of it all. And also, like, I'm seeing posts on my social media feeds from people I actually know more frequently. And then I'm interacting with them more frequently. So it's like kind of reigniting the community aspect of why I got on social media. If I did not have a podcast, or if I didn't have some aspirations to do comedy, acting, creativity, whatever it is, I don't think I would have social media in the way I have it.
Yeah.
I would be very limited with it, and maybe even just use like the features on my phone, like a shared photo album, as opposed to posting something on Instagram. Yeah. But that's not the situation I'm in. So I'm taking all these extra steps. The collateral benefit being I'm reconnecting with, oh yeah, that was That was great. Oh my God. Yeah, I haven't talked to this person in a long time. Oh, we both like this sort of thing. Great. Oh,
Yeah,
my cousin's doing a similar thing.
I think I said in the last one, but one of the greatest accidental benefits, if you want to throw that one in there, of getting my original Instagram account deleted in a mass delete, and I was like so upset. It was like, but I was like, so many people and pages I was like following on Instagram, I didn't need to, and so now it's literally just like whatever funny page I like and actual people. And that's it's just that it's a beautiful thing. But if you want to button this up, I think if you want to do the collateral benefit about going to the gym, is that and I was going to ask you this because I know you did 2 full weeks and this is your 3rd full week.
Yeah.
So because one of the things about people I notice who start going to the gym consistently, and 21 days to start a habit or whatever it is, who have done it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, is their body starts improving. They feel more confident in their body, and then that affects their mental health, endorphins, blah, blah, blah. And then when they're at the gym, one of the collateral benefits, besides the mental health, then goes into community, which is you meet people at the gym, you find out, you interact with new people to get perspectives you didn't know. So therefore, collateral benefit of going to the gym and getting your physical body is also the mental health aspect, and then we go into the community building. So it is let's change the goddamn name, dude.
Collateral benefit. Guess what? We're changing it. It's getting changed. Collateral benefit, new name. Which is a shame because I would like to dismount as well with Mamkoji Yolanda saying, I like this podcast. Hey, what a great place to wrap it all up. Thank you, Yolanda, for watching. Thank you being active in the comments. If you are hearing this later or watching this later in the future, follow us on social media so that you can be notified.
Don't block us.
Don't block us.
Advice. Do not block us. He's full of shit. We're gonna sell you so much skinny tea.
Oh no, the tea. That was the originator, the original influencer product. Oh man. Thank you all for joining us on Collateral Benefit. My name is Mike Mercadal. With me as always is Will Watkins. To wrap it all up, body, know that whatever you do to improve the state of your physical fitness will have some collateral benefit to your mental health, which will make you more inclined which will then give you the collateral benefit of seeing other people in similar situations as community and not just, some sort of competition or some sort of enemy.
Yeah.
We're all on the same, anybody who's striving to improve themselves is all on the same kind of journey. So they are allies, not enemies. Collateral benefit, man. Oh, there we go. We found it. It took us 8 episodes. How many episodes? 7? But we got there. We got there.
Funny? Like, now that I think about just trying to look like you is just a sign-off line.
Yes. Collateral benefit. We'll keep it. But we're going to change it to collateral benefit. You want to know why? Because who gives a shit? This is for us. We would be doing this if no one watched for our own mental health, because it provides us the collateral benefit of hanging out with my friend, talking about life.
The only downside is next week when Kim Kardashian tries to find our podcast, she's going to be like, where'd it go?
Our search engine optimization is bullshit now.
I'm trying to type in just like you. I can't find them. And I would love to find them, except I can't. Mike Mercadal is always the one posting up the page. So
why can't I find Mike anymore? God, what would happen if you found out that like some celebrity, like secret account, is just like a guy who's into your dog pics or something? You're like, yeah, I follow him to keep me sane. I follow a normie. Every now and again, you find out like it's Keanu Reeves just following us. Like it's like, oh, I love these guys.
Yeah, I really like your puggle.
It's like, oh wow, wait, are you telling me that James Gunn follows us and is inspired by the Collateral Benefit podcast?
I think Mind, Body, and Community really does speak to the ethos of Superman.
Like we randomly get a message. We're like, hey, you have no idea how much of an influence you've been on me. Signed to Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
You guys give me hope.
You guys inspire me to be the change I want to see in the world. It's because of
Yeah.
Man.
What if James Gunn messages us and like, listen, The Rock is full of shit. You guys are changing the the dynamic of
the power structure,
of the DC universe.
What if that would be? Like this is all fun and games, but how surreal would it be? Because there's got to be someone we've interacted with in our past who is now gone. We have it's a non-zero possibility that there's some comedian out there writing for something that we were doing open mics with or whatever, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, this guy Will had a great bit about horoscopes or some shit." And then they're like, "Yeah, that's why Batman." And is the main enemy of this new Batman movie is Calendar Man, and it's because this guy Will Watkins had a great bit. I should give him credit, and all of a sudden we get mentioned in some press junket, and we're like, "What? What happened? What is happening?"
Look, if that's the case, then that is a collateral benefit.
Nailed it. I'm not kidding. We're renaming the show. But we will always sign off with what we're about to sign off with right now. Hey, remember to go out and be heroic. That is also a collateral benefit. You go be somebody's hero. That is a Zeros on Heroes sign off. For your body, just remember that anything that you do to increase the mobility, increase the strength, and increase the overall ability of your body will have collateral benefits and will have impact on your mental health, and any impact to your mental health will just improve your relationships around you because you're in a better state of mind to honestly let people in or cut people out. Block. But until then, we're going to keep doing this podcast whether no one watches it or not, because it is good for our mental health. For our physical health, we're going to continue to do our workouts and stuff and check in with each other. I message Will after every workout and he gives me advice, and we talk about each thing. And you always are concerned about my injuries, and I really do appreciate that. You're not trying to, I do appreciate that. You're my friend. I love you. I love hanging out with you every week. And hey, Will, looking good.
Hey, I'm just trying to look like you.
Just trying to look like you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you. You can find us at Zeros on Heroes on all social media, blah, blah, blah. And share this with your friends. I'd rather get word of mouth than an algorithm any day.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wait, freeze frame.